Hello everybody and welcome back to the Real Estate Center video experience. In the last week's episode we spoke all about why invest in real estate. If everybody enjoyed that episode and everybody is a huge believer of real estate investing, you'll find today extremely interesting as we're going to be discussing the importance of putting together your own all-star team. We're going to be speaking about the different experts you need to succeed in real estate investing. How and what questions you're going to ask these professionals, and what kind of criteria you're going to be using to gauge their expertise and their competence for you to take them on your team to make your real estate investing dreams a reality. Alright, so the absolute number one person you need to take a look for your all-star team is your financier. It's your mortgage broker. Depending on what country you live in, what state, what province, we happen to operate in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Our provincial laws and our federal laws dictate certain actions to be taken by a real estate investor. The minimum requirement for your down payment in Toronto, Ontario is 20%. That's actually the same throughout all of Canada. But different programs exist at different times. So it wasn't too long ago where real estate investors could have used 10% down. Those rules changed. They changed the amortization schedules as to how long your mortgage term can be. The longer your term, the smaller the payment, the higher your cash flow. So everything matters. In the case of a mortgage broker, first and foremost, as a real estate investor, you no longer just walk into your local bank, the one that you've been working with for 20 years to get a mortgage. And I'm not anti-bank, I'm actually pro-bank, but when we're doing real estate investing, we have to work with professionals that actually represent our best interests, not their employer's best interest. Any mortgage agent that works at any bank represents the bank that they work for in their products and services. They don't represent your best interest. So they're going to sell you a mortgage at a rate or in a program that works for that individual bank, where a mortgage broker will only get paid if you successfully get your funding at the terms that you're looking for. So what kind of questions would you ask a mortgage broker? Well, do they have experience working with real estate investors? Are they just a residential mortgage broker? Are they strictly commercial mortgage lending? At the end of the day, they need to know how to work with your individual circumstances, how to best structure your current assets, if any, and how you're going to leverage your current situation into getting the best deal possible for the money that you borrowed. Another huge advantage with using a mortgage broker is they typically have access to anywhere between 24, and some brokers have well over 100 different lenders that they work for. So basically you're going to do one application. That means you're going to have minimal impact on your credit report and your credit inquiries, and you're going to get the maximum benefit because that one application now gets shopped around to all these lenders. Once the lenders take a look at the underwritten deal, they're now going to pick and choose and bid for your business, which means they're bidding it down and you are the benefactor of that experience. You definitely need to make sure you work with a broker with industry knowledge, that is experienced in these types of scenarios and knows and is creative on how to position your assets. Many guys who have 5 or 6 properties, and that's lots of my clients. I had Sue M, so I don't disclose her name, who is going to be actually interviewed in one of the future episodes regarding income properties. But Sue, who is a lovely lady, she has multiple properties. And she can't just walk into any bank and get this financing. She has to structure all her rental income, she has to structure her actual job's income, and categorize her liabilities and assets extremely carefully and position them in a way that a bank will take a look at it and not be scared that she's over leveraged. And we'll talk about all this. But the importance of a mortgage broker, as far as other components are concerned, at the end of the day, they have to represent your best interests. The biggest advantage and the reason you're putting them on your team is because they're going to know your situation best and be able to translate that, into a well-structured application and get you your funding successfully. Number 2, we're going to need an accountant Depending again where you are on the property ladder, whether you have no properties, one property, or 6 properties, the earlier you get advice from a proper accountant, and I'm not talking about a bookkeeper or somebody who files your personal taxes on a year-over-year. In this case, you typically want to speak to other investors in your community and who they have used. Of course, there's the big name accounting firms that they can almost always assist, but that also comes with a fairly significant price tag. But just like anything else, you get what you pay for. If you want proper advice, you're going to pay for it, but they're going to structure your assets and your real estate investing in a way that you're more than likely going to make their fees back tenfold. Why? Because real estate has huge tax benefits as to what you can write off, how you write it off, and when, and that translates into real dollars in your pocket. So we covered off mortgage broker and we covered off accountant. Once you've spoken to your mortgage broker, you typically will know exactly what you can afford as far as your investment property. You spoke to your accountant, now you know how you're going to structure your portfolio. Your third call now is to engage a real estate broker. The real estate broker you engage is ever so crucial. And I definitely consider myself to be a great broker, but I can tell you beyond any doubt that I know tens or hundreds of great brokers. And there's many great brokers out there. There's many great investment-focused realtors and professionals that can help you locate property, run the numbers with you and for you, represent your best interests, not the best interests for them as to what deal you just go through and just buy it and move along. When buying real estate property, depending on what you want to do, your style of investing, the type of property you want to get into, your broker better have experience in that field. For example, we practice real estate in the Toronto area, the greater Toronto area, anywhere between, for example, Oshawa to the east of Toronto, all the way to Hamilton to the west. Now, inside this huge market, because we're talking about a 100-kilometer radius almost, we're talking about every type of property investing. Now, if you're looking for a place to call home, myself personally wouldn't be the greatest option if you're looking to buy a house in Oshawa. Why? Because I never go to Oshawa. For an investment property, it's very different because I can analyze the numbers, I can look into and research the area influences. But would I be able to tell you that the neighborhood that you chose, even though the school, you go to any school criteria website, it'll tell you, like the Fraser Institute, for example, which grades schools, and it gives them a score. Let's say school number 1 has a phenomenal rating, but do I know that school is set to close next year because it doesn't have enough attendance? Because the demographic in the area is actually aging? The answer is no, I wouldn't, because I don't have neighborhood expertise. Although I know the GTA market like the back of my hand as far as numbers are concerned. There's those intricate details that only a local neighborhood broker would know. And that's something that you need. So if you're buying a home for yourself, you need to work with a specific type of realtor. If you're looking for an investment property, you need to directly find the professional that is their niche market. So if you're looking for a multiplex apartment building, I might be your guy. If you're looking for a commercial investment, it might be my partner. If it might be an income property just in a neighborhood, like a little niche neighborhood or a waterfront community, you want to engage somebody who knows that market like the back of their hand, that knows what's going on behind the scenes, that knows what businesses are coming and where, how the bus transit system is going to be changing and what does that do to your real estate values. There's just a million things to contend with. As a real estate investor, you have enough issues to think about. The last thing you need to do is have to figure out everything on your own. As a matter of fact, you will never figure out everything on your own, and you do have to put your trust and engage in the right professionals to put the team that's going to service you and your portfolio faithfully, loyally, and properly. You went through your mortgage broker, you spoke to your accountant, you have the best broker in the city, you're looking at properties, you found the property of your dreams, you put the deal together, you think you got the greatest deal in town. But now you're going to your lawyer, and everybody's heard of horror stories where you bought a property, everything was hunky-dory, you looked at everything, you thought you did a great job, but you walked into the property a day later, you started painting a wall, by accident, the pole of your paintbrush hit the ceiling, put a little hole in it, and all this black dust came down. The house is infested by mold. Well, what can you do about it? What are your options? What has happened to you? Was this a defect that somebody knew about and hid? Was it something that nobody could do anything about? Well, your real estate agent is not going to be able to answer that question. Who has liability for what has happened to you? Your accountant will definitely not know what to tell you, and your mortgage broker is long gone and out of the scene. Why? Because he got you the financing and everything closed and everything's hunky-dory. But now you have a serious problem on your hand because it's going to take $50,000 of remediation, for example, to get through the newly discovered mold in the ceiling that was caused by a leak over time and moisture, and nobody bothered to fix it. A lawyer is a huge part of this process. And a lawyer that works with income properties, a lawyer that works with apartment buildings, a lawyer who works with just regular residential homes are all, again, 4 different trades. You want to work with somebody that is going after the style that you're looking to invest in. So if you are an investor, you're going to work with a lawyer that has experience closing the types of deals that you're chasing, and they're going to also advise you what to look for. A lawyer that takes a look at pre-construction condo investing. So you think it's a great idea to buy a condo in downtown Toronto. Well, so do I. But the agreement's about 60 pages, all in a language called legalese. You're going to be able to decipher about 14 sentences, and the rest of it all looks like you're gloom and doom and you're in no control of anything. Well, for the majority of the part, these contracts are written for the builder's behalf, in the builder's best interest. However, you still need to understand everything that you're liable to do as a buyer. You need to understand what you're exposed to as far as liability, time delays, etc. The only person who can tell you how to analyze this properly is a lawyer that is experienced with condominium purchases, new construction purchases, that is going to go through every single clause and find every single little trap that you may have liability to. Explain those to you in common language where you understand it, because not all of us went for a 6-year degree at a fine law school. Get the help that we need and move along. So, once again, let's recap every so often to remember what we're doing here. We're building our all-star team. We're building our power core team. We have a mortgage broker. We have our accountant. We have our real estate broker. We have our lawyer. The fifth, and again, this is now another huge category, number 5. Number 5 is the post-transaction group. In some, actually, this can go back and forth too, but we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about contractors, designers, landscapers. We're going to talk about all your supporting, all the supporting team that's going to make your vision a reality. If you were buying an income property that you're going to be doing a lot of rehab on, your contractor would have came in at the same time as probably your home inspector and given you a quote as to what kind of work is involved. But even if it is a home that you bought for yourself, these people need to come in at crucial times of the transaction to make sure that you're buying the right property with the right amount of work that fits within your budget. Remember, you spoke to your mortgage broker, they told you the price that you can buy. If you're looking into a rehab, you have to leave that allotment of 20, 30, 50, 100,000, depending on your project, that still fits within the parameters of your mortgage and your lending, and make sure that that work can get covered. Getting any contractor, as opposed to having a perfect person on your team, is going to cost you thousands of dollars. They better have a great track record of finishing on time, especially if you're in the rental business. You can't be losing months of rent on end. If you're building new construction, if you're in the custom home business or in the flip business, every single day costs tens, hundreds, or thousands of dollars, depending on the scope of your project. And you just can't have that. You need to work with people that are doing their work on time, on budget, In a professional, no cutting corners work standard. When you cut corners, there's two things that are going to happen. If you have tenants, they're going to complain. If you're living on yourself, you're going to have shoddy work and you won't be happy. If you do things right, two things are going to happen. You're going to never have issues with a property, especially when it comes to electrical, plumbing, and mechanical. Everything that's kind of cosmetic, it doesn't even matter. Like all that stuff you can always go back and fix or upgrade later. But when we're talking about electrical, plumbing, mechanical, heating and air conditioning, all these things have to be done right. And they have to be done by the pros that you can trust in your area. And there's never a lack of resources online and offline that can point you to people who have tens or hundreds of reviews in their respective field and give you a hand with getting everything done. I would like to recap the whole conversation, and at this point I'm hoping that you're kind of understanding where we're going with this video today. So let's take this from the top. We start with a mortgage broker. We're going to find out how much we can afford. We're going to do only one application. We're going to get the results that we need from an experienced agent in your area that services your best interests. At that stage, you speak to an accountant if you're looking to be an investor. If you're looking to be an investor, the accountant will tell you how to structure your portfolio and maximize your tax benefits. Number 3, you're going to speak to your broker. How to pick a broker, we can do a whole segment on that, but pick a broker who is an expert in the type of investing that you're looking to do. Pick a broker that is an expert in the area that you're looking to get into, and it's very easy. If you take a quick drive around the block, you're going to see enough signs, and typically half the signs are one agent, half the signs are the other. Try to work with somebody who is really busy in that neighborhood and market, because those are the people who are more than likely going to know the ins and outs and all those intricate details that can potentially make you or break you after your investment is made. You find a deal, you put it together, you're going to bring in your home inspector, you're going to bring in your contractor. Home inspector and contractor take a look at the property, make sure that they dig as much as they possibly can and find any shortfalls or any huge advantages of the property. They're going to help you be able to budget for rehab and repairs, and they're going to be able to tell you kind of where the house stands. You have 10 years left on this roof, your HVAC needs to be changed over next year, etc. Those are all going to be very valuable considerations that you take into account when buying and rehabbing and or fixing up a property. You're done, your deal is complete, everything looks good. We take the paperwork and we take it to a trusted lawyer. The lawyer is very simply put, going to take a look at everything that you put on paper, make sure everything is kosher. Once the deal passes your lawyer and yourselves due diligence, you should be good to go. Once you close on the property, you can call your friends, you can call your neighbors, and you can celebrate. You made it to your first closing or to your 100th closing, but another property is within your portfolio and you're just one step closer to your dream. My name is Simeon Papailias. Thank you for watching once again. If you did find value, please share this video and subscribe right here. Until next time,